It's that time of year again when everyone names their game of the year, or in this case, the 6 games of the year. Ordinarily, I would just choose 5 games of the year, but we had a last minute entry a few weeks ago, and there was nothing I wanted to get rid of in order to give it its due. 2016 has been overall a pretty great year for games with so many standout entries that in all honesty, it was hard to decide what games will make the list from the large pool of games that I really enjoyed rather than the other way around. There are many games that didn't make this list and a couple that just narrowly missed out, so with that in mind, let's get started. The first award goes to Overwatch. This was a huge surprise for me, as I've mentioned a few times on our podcast. Oh, and as a aside, there is more of that coming, which I haven't been able to find the time recently. Usually, the fastest way for me to lose interest is to say the words multiplayer only shooter. But my YouTube and Twitch feeds were full of Overwatch content in the run-up to release, so when it finally came into open beta, I tried it and was absolutely blown away. While the content was a bit lacking at launch, Overwatch never once bored me or felt stale. It was so bright and colourful with such a well realised design that it didn't matter that we were playing on the same rotation of small maps. The characters were unique in appearance and abilities, and the team-based focus meant that it felt different to the usual multiplayer shooter affair, and also helped me find my feet as someone who doesn't usually play first-person shooters that aren't Doom. Overwatch is a triumph of pure mechanics, with each character being easy to learn but hard to master, and of course an absolute blast to play as. As with any diverse cast of characters, some are not to my taste, but there is more than enough on offer here to make Overwatch engaging even after 90 plus hours. While it is marred by the presence of microtransactions, given that they are purely cosmetic and there will be no other DLC for the game, those have definitely earned their place on this list with Overwatch. Let's move on to our second game of the year with Dark Souls 3. I have no doubt that this game will be on many Game of the Year lists in 2016, and rightfully so. Dark Souls is a franchise which slowly drew me in over time, and Dark Souls 3 is a fantastic end flourish to the series. My time to play games just for fun is quite limited, but despite that I still found the time to play through Dark Souls 3 multiple times. As with all Souls games, it is deeply engaging and just left me hankering for more. The lore is vague and foggy as ever, but still leaves enough story to keep the lore-hungry players going, and leaves enough breadcrumbs for those not wanting to hunt down every last scrap to keep us clued in. Kind of. While Dark Souls 3 gets a lot of flack for repeating some of the more famous notes from Dark Souls 1, I think this is one of my favourite Souls games due to the faster paced combat. It doesn't ever go into Bloodborne territory though, as it still manages to feel methodical and defensive, while also feeling responsive and a pleasure to play. In all honesty, going back to Dark Souls 1's syrupy controls after playing this was a bit of a challenge. As with all From games, the level of detail in Dark Souls 3 is staggering. The game is beautiful in its own nightmarish way, with each and every area of the game painstakingly designed to give off that haunting sense of a place once glorious. The enemies are typical Souls fare, so wonderfully designed, freakish nightmare fuel that will sometimes fill you with white-hot rage. While some bosses feel cheap with their seemingly infinite pools of stamina, it still maintains that feeling of it's not unfair, you just screwed up. While Pontiff Sullivan can go do one, the bosses in this game were overall a joy to fight. We've had some big budget AAAs, so now let's break it up with some love for some indie games. The first one on our list is Inside. Inside isn't anything complex on its surface, or some grand sweeping narrative. It's simply a company, in this case Playdead, setting out to do one thing and achieving it in style. Inside is pretty similar mechanically to Limbo, the game that put them on the map. It's a 2D platform with physics puzzles, but all in all I found the puzzles better designed than in Limbo. There are a few head scratchers to be sure, but each puzzle was well designed and didn't make me feel frustrated for ages on end. This is helped along by the fact that you really only have 2 interactions with objects, push and pull. That and your limited jump are your only tools, meaning that the puzzles feel easy to solve. Now this was something that Limbo had as well, but I feel the graphic style of Inside communicates what the puzzle wants from the player more clearly. The world and story of Inside is one barely glimpsed, and the story is told like you're looking through a dirty glass a mile away. You see glimpses of it in the weird mind control zombies you see in the background and the strange machinery that you have to avoid and sometimes interact with, but there are still no words. Despite this, the world of Inside is interesting enough to want to know more and to keep pushing forward, and it lets your imagination do the rest. The end segment of the game, while I won't spoil it, is a brilliant turn of events and a great twist on the established narrative, such as it is, and also changes up mechanics a little as well. The ending, while I won't spoil it, is memorable and kept me thinking for ages after. Our next game is also going to be a lot of lists this year, and that it is of course the mighty Doom. I will admit, when I played the multiplayer, I was a bit concerned about Doom, but when it finally released, the single player worries disappeared in an instant. Doom is a gory masterpiece with awesomely fun gameplay and one of the best soundtracks ever made. The music goes so perfectly with the insane, balls out action that fills Doom from start to finish. The wide array of weapons and lack of reloading combined with the fast movement speed gives that old school vibe of the classic Doom games that I have very so missed. Even the glory kill system, which I had my doubts about when it was shown pre-release, keeps things fresh and also keeps you moving. Not having to hunt around for health packs if you play well keeps the pace going and stops it from screeching to a halt as you look around for health in order to continue the level. While the satisfying gameplay is one of the core pillars of Doom's brilliance, another is the Doom Marine himself. He does not say a word throughout the entire game, and you still get a clear sense of his feelings and motivations throughout the story. This is expressed through the little touches in his animations, from how he pushes away that talky exposition screen at the start of the game, to how he curls his fists as he listens to one of the other characters rationalise opening the portal to hell in the first place. He's also consistent throughout the entire game, and despite never speaking or showing his face, is a wonderfully well realised and fun character to play as. While the game does start to feel a little samey towards the end, Doom is still 15 hours of pure unadulterated joy as you rip and tear through hundreds of demons. Next up is another indie entry, which is none other than Pony Island. This wonderful little gem is undoubtedly going to be forgotten by a lot of list writers due to the fact that it came out so early in the year back in January, but it absolutely deserves its place here. After checking it out of pure curiosity, Pony Island displayed a devilishly clever meta-narrative that is wrapped around the facade of a cute little endless runner. From the moment you jump into the game, it begins playing with your expectations and revealing its deeper narrative. Just for example, to even start the game you have to solve a puzzle of a broken start menu, which gives you an idea of the ride you're in for here. Essentially, you're playing as someone who is playing an arcade cabinet through which the devil himself is trying to steal your soul. That isn't some big twist that I just spoiled for you. It's revealed pretty early on and speaks volumes of the kind of experience Pony Island is. The devil is continually messing with you and putting you in unfair situations where you must try and level the playing field by messing with the game's code through a series of puzzles. Some of the later puzzles can be a bit obtuse, but thankfully none of them stay overlong and there's always more weirdness on the horizon to keep you going. This little meta-narrative could have come across as really pretentious, but it somehow escapes that fate by being very well written and genuinely clever. The way that several characters within the arcade machine interact with you and how the story develops all feel satisfying and not at all like the game is smugly proclaiming how clever it is. The developer Daniel Mullins truly tread a fine line here, but he managed to pull off this subversive narrative alongside a simplistic but enjoyable gameplay style very well indeed. Our final entry is one that entered very last minute, but it earned its place here by being quite the humorous little surprise. Icy. After hearing about this on shows such as the Co-Optional podcast, I had to give it a try. On its surface, Icy is an excellent 2D brawl with satisfying combos and an interesting graphic style. It has the usual fare of upgrading your combos and unlocking new ones as you go on, and this, alongside the satisfying gameplay, would have been enough to make Icy a very good game indeed. But there's more to it, as Icy also has a fun meta-narrative within it. It's done quite differently to Pony Island though. Icy gives you a sense that you're trying to outsmart the developer and having him grow ever more frustrated with you. The narration, which is all in Chinese with subtitles, guides you through the game, saying things like, Icy followed the arrow without hesitation, so of course, your first instinct is to not follow the arrow and see what happens. What happens is the developer chastises you, gets frustrated and tells you how he worked for years to make this game, so why can't you just follow his instructions? There are several amusing sections where the developer tells you of his sacrifices to make the game, and as you listen to him less and less, he starts working against you when you go off the beaten path. Icy is humorous and fun to Pony Island's dark and clever, but that's not to say there isn't cleverness here, it's just presented in a very different way. As I mentioned, this game could have just been a really good 2D brawler, but this clever and funny narrative with some well done narration makes it something truly special. Despite not speaking the language, I could still hear the developer's frustration as you tried to outsmart him again and again, leading to some genuinely funny moments. Overall, Icy is truly something special that seemingly came out of nowhere. And there we have it. Those are my 6 games of the year for 2016. As I said at the start of the video, this list was quite difficult to make as there were so many good releases this year. There were many games that I considered for the list I didn't quite make it. I just want to give a special mention for 2 games in particular. The first is Dishonored 2, which only just missed out. While I absolutely love the game and think it's a fantastic sequel, some very welcome changes to the original, it wasn't quite up there with Game of the Year material. The next game that missed out is regretfully The Last Guardian. I waited 10 long years for this game and I really like it. The world is stunning and Trico himself is adorable and incredibly well animated. But the controls, while they don't spoil the game enough for me so I don't want to play it, definitely do bring this game down from a shoo-in from my Game of the Year list to this special mention. A shame, but overall it still is a good game, just not Game of the Year. Thank you very much for watching though guys, and for all your support over this last year and over the last previous years before that. You guys have been as amazing as ever and I hope you'll continue to join us for more content in 2017. Hope you all have a wonderful Christmas and I'll see you next time.